need to learn. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I like it.
Debbie, you're okay? Your computer's good?
No, I'm okay now.
All right.
Sorry, it wasn't cooperating. And it wasn't me.
All right, folks, welcome.
I think so, anyway.
Richmond Board of Education acknowledge and thank the First Peoples of the Hunkaminam Language Group on whose traditional and unceded territories we teach, learn, and live. Once again, welcome, and here we go, another year. New year. We have some announcements. Trustees, why don't we start down that end and just work our way around? Trustee Tablani?
Black History Month. Every February, Canadians are invited to participate in Black History Month, events that honor the legacy, achievements, and ongoing contributions of Black Canadians and their communities. In the Richmond School District, Black History Month is an important opportunity to teach, learn, and celebrate Black excellence by highlighting the resilience, contributions, and leadership of Black individuals and communities. As a district, our continued commitment to equity, inclusion, and meaningful representation remains central to our work. Throughout February, students and staff will engage in learning experiences that explore Black history, culture, and contributions, strengthening our understanding, foster belonging, and honor the diversity that enriches our district. Thanks.
Thank you. Trustee Wong?
Thank you, Chairman. Lunar New Year 2026. Lunar New Year, beginning this year on February 17th, is a time of celebration, reflection, and renewal for many members of our community. As we welcome the Year of the Horse, we honor the traditions, languages, and cultural practices of families and staff who observe this important festival, including those celebrating Chinese New Year. The Richmond School District values the rich cultural diversity that strengthens our schools. Our ongoing commitment to equity, inclusive, and belonging continues to guide our work. Lunar New Year provides an opportunities for our students and staff to learn from one another, deepen understanding, and celebrate the vibrant cultural heritage that enriches our district. We extend warm wishes to all who are celebrating. May the Year of the Horse bring good health, joy, and prosperity. Thank you.
Trustee Larson?
International Holocaust Remembrance Day. January 27th marks the anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau and is recognized globally as International Holocaust Remembrance Day. On this solemn day, the Richmond School District honors the memory of the 6 million Jews and all victims of the Holocaust, and we pay tribute to the survivors who continue to share their stories with courage and resilience. As a district, our commitment to equity, inclusion, and combating all forms of hate, including anti-Semitism, remains unwavering. We continue to foster learning environments where understanding human rights and respect are central, ensuring that the lessons of the Holocaust are carried forward for future generations. Thank you.
Trustee Yang?
Thanks very much. January 29th marks the anniversary of a 2017 attack on the Islamic Cultural Center and Mosque in Sainte-Foy, Quebec, one of the deadliest hate-motivated attacks in Canada. Today, we remember the 6 lives lost, honor the survivors, and hold their families and communities in our thoughts. As a school district, our commitment to equity, inclusion, and safe, caring schools remains steadfast. We stand against all forms of hate and discrimination, including anti-Islamic hate and Islamophobia. We continue to promote learning rooted in human rights, anti-oppression, and social justice, and we strive to ensure that every student and staff member feels safe, valued, and a true sense of belonging. Thank you.
Trustee Sargent.
Thank you. Briefs regarding the 2026-2027 annual budget will be accepted without prior notice at the February 18th, 2026, March 11th, 2026, and April 22nd, 2026, the regular meetings of the board. Please note that budget updates. All budget feedback will be considered by the board as part of the budget process, which is anticipated to be completed by May 20th, 2026.
Thank you. Trustee Belisa, do you have one? No, okay. All right, Secretary Treasurer Wang, are there any materials not included in the package available to the public?
All materials have been published on the district website. Thank you.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder, moved by Trustee Yang, seconded by Trustee Larson. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, item 3, we have no presentation, briefs, or special recognition at this time. So we'll move on to questions from the public. Who better start the year off?
Hi, good evening. Liz Baverstock, President, Richmond Teachers Association. Great to be here, 2026. And didn't know that I would make it. I had to get back through the fog, but I'm here. Actually, my questions are in regards to later on in the meeting, you have 2 motions going to the BCSTA. And my question in regards to this, well, first of all, I'm not exactly sure when the BCSTA actually is, but do you work with other boards when you bring these motions forward in advance of the meeting, perhaps having different, a seconder from another board of education across the province? That's my question, and I'll leave that for you to answer, but I do want to take an opportunity, of course, to express great appreciation for these 2 motions. One is in regards to increasing the number of years where students who are learning an English language learning students and making sure that there is more than 5 years of support, because we do all know that it can take a long time, especially if you're coming into the system later, where you are, say, learning English in, say, grade 8, grade 9. There is a difference, and I don't think that the Ministry of Education actually recognizes that, and so I really do appreciate the research that's being done out there and your advocacy on this. It's advocacy for public education and just the reality of that unfunding, that the challenges that it does present, and very much appreciate your recognition of the challenges to educators who are chronically faced with increasing workload, learning complexities in classrooms, and burnout. This really does recognize, and I think teachers will value and educators will value reading this and saying people are listening to what is going on in the classroom and that it is becoming increasingly complex. And so taking this motion forward is actually greatly appreciated by the Richmond Teachers Association, and I believe will be appreciated by teachers. Likewise, the second motion, and really do strongly appreciate the advocacy here and the why this matters. I know you've been speaking, I know you've been doing the advocacy, but here it is in print for people to be able to read. So, educators can read this, the chronic underfunding, the continuous pressures, these unfunded cross pressures, which we've all been speaking about. And I know, you've got the increasing CPP, increasing EI, increasing employer health tax. Those are just to name a few, because you went wide in scope in terms of the cost pressures. But what it does, of course, is it forces boards of education to make decisions that really don't support your strategic plan. It isn't the direction you want to be going in. And in recognition of the previous motion is it means workload to everybody. Increased workload to everybody across the system. That's teachers in the classroom, that's administrators in schools, that's at the district office, because you're forced to make these decisions, and that could be cuts. And anytime you make a cut, the work doesn't go away. It just adds to the desk of a person. So very much appreciate the advocacy you're doing here. We anticipate, as a tough year this year, we anticipate a couple more tough, difficult years. We've had this change in enrollment. We had this increasing enrollment for the past couple of years, but that suddenly changed. And when things suddenly change, what you don't have is governments actually preparing for that change. They make changes in decisions, federal government in terms of visas, but that has a compounding impact, and nobody actually says, but where are we going to have the resources? And the other thing is, you don't lose students equally. You lose them across the system. You don't lose them all in one site, such that you can make easy decisions and say, great, it's that one site. And therefore, we can actually contain this. It doesn't work that way. And so really do appreciate your advocacy on this, and just trying to understand how you actually all work together. I assume you do, because you're not alone in your advocacy. But I do appreciate the leadership you're taking.
We are there's going to be a motion coming up later on, but did you want to respond or any comments regarding Liz's comments?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Chairperson, and through you to Ms. Baverstock. I appreciate those comments, and we'll have further to share when we get into that agenda item. But certainly, other districts have put forward various motions on various K-12 issues, and those have been deliberated on at our annual general meetings in the past. And it is our hope to put forward a couple to get Richmond on the board to let our local concerns heard. And so looking forward to deliberating that tonight when the agenda item comes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to our executive report. Superintendent Yusi? Come on up.
Happy New Year, everyone. Yeah, my name's Connie, RDPA president. So I have a question about the agenda with the motion for expulsions of the district student council. So what about this motion about for, because I attend every meeting with trustees and also school superintendents, so I never hear about this subject. So that's why I saw the district student council. This is new, or this is already have it?
No, this is a motion that's being brought forward by Trustee Belisa tonight. And so we'll be discussing it and voting on it, but, so.
Okay, this is new from Trustee Belisa.
Oh,
It's a new item, new topic.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
Okay.
So do you guys will provide the details before you make the motions?
Well, we'll be discussing it tonight, so you can hear all the discussion that goes on.
Thank you.
Right?
Page 58.
Okay. We have to approve the minutes from prior meetings. There is a record of an in-camera meeting on the board held Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. We have a regular meeting of the board. Oh,
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair.
I knew I forgot someone. We have an executive report from our superintendent.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone. It's always a wonderful opportunity to provide few remarks during our public board meetings. And of course, it's situated in the highlight of my week, which is visiting schools and engaging with staff, students, parents, and caregivers. And of course, depending on the time of day, it could be parents dropping off their children at the start of the school day, or maybe at the end of the day as parents are making their way as well, trying to get out of the parking lots. There's no question, I think we all know this to be true. There's a strong sense of community in Richmond. And this is evident among our current and former employees. Last week, for example, during a school visit, I met a recently retired teacher who comes by the school daily to walk his dog. And I struck up a conversation with him, and he told me this. Actually, I requested if I could use his name. He said no, but the story is still valid. He said, this is the best district to walk in. I believe most of our employees share this sentiment, and that's what makes our district a special place to work. I'm always inspired by the dedication, the passion, and the excellence demonstrated by every member of our district's team. From our dedicated teachers, support staff, school administrators, and all our dedicated staff who work in central offices, collectively, we make this district the best district to teach and to lead. I witnessed firsthand as superintendent the incredible opportunity to work with committed individuals who daily show up to make a difference for our young people. And I know that is not something you take for granted. Having worked in different jurisdictions, I know that's not commonplace in every single space. So for that, I'm most grateful to work with such an incredible team of educators who show up daily and support staff who show up daily to make a difference in our district. It's been a very busy year. I know it's a new year, January, the first month of the year, but we're midway through the school year. So there's some good things that we've learned. And today's agenda shows the incredible work that this board will be deciding on tonight, but also each one of those recommendations speak to hours and hours of work of not just only members of senior team, but certainly every staff member in this organization will one way or the other contribute to making this district the best district to work in. So, Mr. Chair and trustees, I continue to say that the work that we do daily only happens because of the commitment and dedication of the adults in this organization. We'll continue to show up, we'll continue to do their best work, notwithstanding some of the challenges that we face, but they show up and they make sure that young people feel safe, welcome, and learn. So thank you very much. That's my report for tonight.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from prior meetings. There was a record of an in-camera meeting held at the board Wednesday, December 10th. Regular meeting of the board held Wednesday, December 10th, minutes for approval. It's in your package. Unless there's any errors or omissions, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder to accept it. Trustee Larson moved, seconded by Trustee Wong. All in favor? Carried. There's a record of an in-camera special meeting of the board held Tuesday, January the 13th, 2026. And there is a special meeting of the board held Tuesday, January 13th, 2026 for approval. The minutes are in your package. Trustee is looking for a mover and a seconder. Trustee Yang moves, seconded by Trustee Belisa. All in favor? Thank you. All right, let's move on to item 7, business arising from prior minutes. So we have our first recommendation of the night, and it's regarding the new city school catchment. Brought forward by Secretary Treasurer Wang. I'll read the recommendation that the Board of Education approve the establishment of the new City Center Elementary School catchment boundaries based on adjusted scenario 2 as presented, effective for implementation beginning in the 2026-27 school year, and direct staff to proceed with implementation and communication. Looking for a seconder. Trustee Larson, thank you. Seconded by Trustee Larson. Secretary Wang, do you want to speak to your recommendation?
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson. My report is on page 17 of the public meeting package. In accordance with the School Act, the board is required to establish a catchment area for the new city center school. And following the board's direction in September 2nd, 2025, the city center catchment review process was launched on September 3rd, 2025, and it was open for public feedback until October 27th, 2025. During this process, our community shared their feedback through online survey, virtual meetings, public open houses. Community feedback was carefully reviewed and helped inform the final recommendation from staff. The rationale for this recommendation is that the adjusted scenario number 2 is the option that represents the most balanced option, aligning with the board's responsibility to manage enrollment across the school district while prioritizing safety, walkability, and equitable access to educational facilities. Once approved, the new catchment will be taking effect for implementation for September 2026. District staff will proceed to the implementation phase by directly contacting, communicating with our families for student registration and address specific concerns to ensure smooth transition for all our students. So this recommendation reflects careful analysis, meaningful community engagement, and a commitment to student-centered planning. So staff therefore recommend board approval as outlined in this report. So that concludes my report, and I'm open for questions.
Okay, so we're going to start off with questions down here. Once we go through the questions, then we'll come back for opinions, if you want to share that and how you plan to vote. Trustee Beliza, any questions?
None for now.
None? Trustee Sargent? Yeah.
Yeah, I have questions. Obviously, we're super excited about, we worked so long and so hard to get the new school. And with the new school comes the decision around catchment. And it's a difficult decision sometimes. And I really appreciate the public engaging with this topic and with giving us feedback on what really important things we should think about. My question is around transition, and I'm wondering if staff or other staff could talk a bit about that. I'm thinking I'm a grade 6 student at a certain school and now perhaps have to go to a different school. And I'm wondering if the educators maybe could speak a bit about what that would look like, what kind of help, what, as you've said in your report in the transition, what does that look like? Because we are very student-centered.
Yeah, absolutely. I can jump in and start, and I'll invite Assistant Superintendent Thompson to add to this. So as you can see on page 21, the section of implementation and next steps, staff are currently working very hard to come up with a very thorough plan to make sure students are transitioned well into the new school. So we're going to have direct outreach to families of all K-7 students that potentially be impacted by the new catchment to address individual concerns and circumstances. So I guess with that, I'm going to invite Assistant Superintendent Thompson to comment.
Thank you Thank you so much. Through the chair, Trustee Sargent, thank you for the question. As you know, there's been lots of thoughtful discussion about how best to support families once the catchment is decided. And so there's a multitude of strategies that will be kicked off with the decision of the new catchment in terms of reaching out to families directly, hosting a virtual information night specifically for those families to answer some of the main themes of questions we saw in some of the engagement in terms about implementation. There will also be direct contact info for families to reach out. As we know, many families want the opportunity to maybe discuss individual circumstances that might be private to their family. And so we have staff prepared to connect with those families. We know We know that transitions can be challenging, and so we want to do the best to listen and be available and to discuss each family's individual circumstances, while also really focusing on the opportunities that lie in the new school and working really hard to make sure it's ready to receive all of our wonderful kiddos in September.
Thank you. And I did have another question around transportation. Clearly, staff chose scenario 2. One of the reasons was creating a safe place to get to school. So I'm wondering if, I know you've been doing some work with the City of Richmond. I wonder if you could, publicly state, what are we looking at? What kind of work is being done around making sure that students can get to the school in a safe way?
Yeah, absolutely. So first step, following the preparation work for opening the school in September, we have our staff have been in continuous or constant dialogue conversation with our city staff, the city's transportation department. So a number of steps have been taken. Number one is we are engaging with a transportation consultant to do traffic safety study around the school area to see if there are any improvement that we need to consider, whether it's on school property and also on the city property, city roads, right? So that's one thing. And the other thing is we've been talking with the city staff to look at the different crosswalks to make sure the school is accessible, and also with the proper signage to make sure people are aware this is a school, and there are a lot of students in this area at different times. Potentially put up signs. So there's a myriad of measures that we are considering at this time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Yang. Okay, Trustee Larson?
Yes.
Any questions?
Just further to Trustee Sargent's question and your response with regards to the thoughtfulness as to how the transition, because transition is so difficult and so on. It makes me think of the work that the teachers do every year when the kids move to the next grade, and the thoughtfulness that goes into that. Just even moving classroom down a hall, different teacher, all of that. It's so thoughtful and well thought forward. And so a situation like this is that much bigger, yet that same thoughtfulness goes into how we want to know. We want to know how these kids feel, and we'll do what we can. And so that, I hope that brings some comfort to people that are nervous and don't know how. But when you think about what those decisions and the people that make them and how much they care, it means a lot, I think. And I do hope it is helpful. The other thing, too, that I'm really most impressed with this is the paragraph on page 18 where presenting two clearly defined and well-documented scenarios, the engagement process moved beyond opinion-based input and supported meaningful dialogue focused on outcomes, impacts, and future planning considerations. That's so important. It's difficult. It's wonderful to hear opinions, but sometimes it's difficult to make critical decisions based on opinions. There needs to be evidence and supported meaningful dialogue. So I'm most impressed with the process that this has taken on. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Wong, any questions?
So no question, but we now we see that we adjust the seniority to. That's the mean we listen to the public and for the engagement way. Is that is good that is make the reflect careful analysis. This is really important. That is that the public engagement and we heard and then get that judgment. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Palani, any questions?
Yeah, I do have a question. And I'm so thankful that we had the extensive consultation that we did because, obviously there were some changes that came out of it. But I did want to ask, we There was retained the area south of Lansdowne Road, west of Mineral Boulevard within Brick House catchment. Wanted to reduce the walking distance and safety concerns. Just wondering what the actual safety concerns were from the public. Anybody? Is there a
Yeah. If I may, through the chair, yes.
synopsis of that, or?
Yeah, so basically, that's based on the feedback we heard from the
Right.
parents, from the parent community, right? It's, number one is walkability, and number two is distance of walking from especially the younger children to walk across the major arterial road, and then also from where they reside to the new school is a bit far for people who reside in that area.
Okay.
That's why we made the change,
They
adjustment.
were going to have to cross a major road
Yeah,
there?
road,
Because I
yeah,
noticed
and
it's one corner that's. been-
Correct, yeah. It's more convenient for those people to go back to attend Brick House instead of walking long distance
Okay,
to Outland.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that specific corner was to help reduce the walk limit and also address any concerns with major roads and,
Safety, yeah.
yeah, okay,
All right.
thank you.
I'm going to go through one more time. Finally, any last questions, comments, opinions? Trustee Belisa? Okay. Trustee Sargent?
Did you want comments now about voting?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I support the recommendation, and it is also noted that we need to embark now on the secondary catchment, and so I'm looking, not looking forward to, but I'm looking forward to receiving the information and starting that process and engage with the community. And I like at the end of the report, it said, we'll review, because this is a different area, this is a different catchment. We are having students come from different places, and we're not sure about so I really like that we're going to review this as well, and just make sure everything's okay, I appreciate that, so I'll support the motion, thank you.
Trustee Yang?
Yeah, thanks very much. I too will be supporting the recommendation. Just a few reflections because this is certainly a process that involved public consultation, conversations with our partner groups, and so it's been an extensive journey. And really this is a time to give appreciation to Secretary Treasurer and senior staff and everybody involved in putting together various sessions. I know those ran throughout September, October, both virtually and in person. And one of the things that struck me was just the amount of care that staff has given for those individual circumstances, as the Assistant Superintendent mentioned earlier, and that every family is different. I mean, what struck me the most was the amount of inquiries around childcare, and the fact that families are worried that with a move that they're going to lose existing childcare spots in the school that their child is currently in, and that's certainly something that's on the radar for staff, and I'm super glad that is on the radar and that those individual needs are being met at face value, and just the amount of attention that was given to each of the scenarios, because we went into this process with 2 scenarios, and what came out of this process was an adjusted scenario 2, and I think that's very important too, because if you take a look at the map and the edges of that, the catchment that is being recommended, I mean, a lot of that is a lot of walking, and there are safety concerns that or issues that need to be addressed, and just glad that we're not taking too much from one neighborhood, requiring families to cross 2 or even 3 arterial roads. I mean, that's must be a scary journey to and from school. So I'm really thankful for staff on their accommodation on those scenarios. And just one last comment on the continual work, because obviously the traffic studies will have to continue, and further conversations and background work needs to go ahead. And and I know that work is ongoing, but to really look at those improvements because, again, on some of the neighborhoods on the edges of this catchment, they do have to trek a long way, even if they're driving. That's, with the amount of volume that we have to deal with in Richmond nowadays, it's difficult. So I'll leave it at that and be supporting the recommendation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Trustee Larson, any final comments? No. Trustee Wong, any final comments? Trustee Tablotny?
Yeah, just, thankful once again for the consultations that we entered into. I think it was very fruitful. It's a very busy area, and when you make a change like this, like we don't often just open a school and take a bunch of kids away from where they go to school, where they've established routines and walks to and from school, or ride sharing and childcare and all of that. It's a lot to ask the students and the families to shuffle all of that they're used to, take that out of their regular day and change their whole routines up somewhat. So, and obviously there were some good suggestions to make improvements on the scenarios that we offered. So, but I think, in the long run, this school is going to take a lot of pressure off, and kids are going to be a lot happier in the schools because you're not going to have that amount of overcrowding. And that's why it was really important to have the consultation and establish a good, strong, workable boundary for the school and to get the kids in, as soon as we can. Because the pressures are mounting, and they're still mounting. So I'm just thankful and appreciative to staff and all the parents that gave their input into the consultation. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Tablotny. I'll just comment. Yeah, I'm in support of this recommendation. No matter what, I mean, there are going to be some children and some families that are going to be disappointed with the decision. Because they may not end up in the school where they want to be. And, to that, I guess I look at our staff and ask the question, did we do everything we possibly could to sort of look at all the different angles and all the different solutions and different scenarios and, coming up with one that best meets the needs of as many people as possible, knowing that, once again, like I say, we can't please everyone. At the same time, too, I do think that our students and our families are resilient, and not to be corny about making you stronger or whatever, but adversity does make you stronger, and my hope is that it will be a smooth transition, and that it will grow to a healthy school, and that eventually people will be with who they want to be and with their friends and so forth. On that note, Assistant Soup, do you want, or sorry, Secretary, do you want to comment? Final words? Okay. Having said that, I'm going to call the question that the Board of Education approve the establishment of the new City Center Elementary School catchment boundaries based on adjusted scenario 2 as presented, effective for implementation beginning the 2026-27 school year, and direct staff to proceed with implementation and communication. All in favor? Opposed? Recommendations carried. Thank you very much. Okay, we have another recommendation, and this is regarding K-7 Blended Learning Program. I'll read the recommendation, and I'm going to look for a seconder. Recommendation is that the Board of Education approve staff recommendation to discontinue the K-7 Blended Learning Program effective June 30th, 2026 due to consistently low and declining enrollment, and further that staff engage with all relevant partner groups and provide transition supports for all students currently in the program. Looking for a seconder. Seconded by Trustee Sargent. Thank you. Assistant Superintendent Nazar, would you like to speak to your recommendation? Sure.
Thank you. Maybe what I'll do is just provide you with a little bit of background about our program and where we are at present. And so, as you know from the report, our K-7 blended learning program did originate from the pandemic when we had many of our students fully engaged online. Over the years, the program has transitioned, and as you can see from the report as well, as families have become more comfortable with a return to in-person education within our bricks and mortar schools, the enrollment in this particular program has declined. And as the enrollment has declined, the district has made some staffing adjustments to align with the current enrollment, which is now at 6 students, which represents 5 families. Our students that are in the program at present range from grade 1 to 4, and there is a half-time teacher engaged. It is a hybrid model at present now. It's moved away from fully online, so students do attend at Grauer Elementary 1 day a week, and the rest of the time is facilitated by their parents for the most part, alongside our teacher as well. And that's where the program stands. As you can see from the report, what's been highlighted is the continued and steady decline in enrollment in the program. Because of that decline, we have not been able to provide inclusive supports such as ELL supports or supports for students with diverse abilities. It is operating at a deficit to the district. And so, as you can see from the report, you do have a recommendation before you, and should you wish to accept that recommendation, the next steps that have been highlighted are to work with each family individually. We have 5 families to help support their successful transition wherever that may be. Initial conversations with the families, I can tell you, tells us that they will all go in different directions, some coming into the district and are ready to return, some continuing as homeschoolers, and some moving to online learning. And of course, working alongside staff and partner groups in that transition.
All right. Thank you. We'll start with questions, then followed by opinions. We're going to start down the far end. Trustee Tablotny, do you have any questions that you have for?
Not really. I've studied the information, I think.
Okay. Trustee Wong, any questions?
So no question, but I really support of your recommendation, because I really support that social emotional learnings for the just like K-7, get them back to school and meet each other to learn together. Thank you.
Trustee Larson, any
I
questions?
don't have any questions. I'll comment later.
Okay. Trustee Yang, any questions?
No.
Trustee Sargent and Trustee Belisa?
No question,
question?
Mr. Chairman, but I just would like to make a comment
Yeah. We'll come back to you.
that I am in favor of the recommendation.
Okay. So let's, if people have comments that they want to make, Trustee Sargent, sorry, Tablotny?
Yeah. Just, you know, this was heavily attended before, as you can see, in 21, 22, and during COVID. It was important, you know, to have this program. But as we see, the enrollment has continued to decline, and we're now down to, you know, 6 students. Some of them may not return, from my understanding, to regular school, but there are options for them, and other programs, online programs and homeschool programs. So I'm confident that with those programs in place, we can move ahead with discontinuing the program. I think we've done a fair bit of research on it, and trustees have been provided with all kinds of rationale. So I'm in favor of the motion.
Trustee Wong, any opinion? Okay. Trustee Larson?
I'm in favor of the motion, and I'm really happy to. It's nice to know that there's the 3 options for the families to think about the homeschooling, should they want to do that, the online, or returning to brick and mortar. And I'm guessing that would be comforting for them, that they got 3 things. And again, how can you run a program that's rich in, with 5 people or 5 children or what have you? And we just can't do that. So I know that there's been a great deal of thought put into this, and thank you for that.
Trustee Yang, any final comments? Trustee Sargent?
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for your work on this. This isn't the first time we've heard about it, and you've helped us walk through the process and engaged very much and deeply with the families, and very caring, and really appreciate that. Appreciate the document. It's got all the information here. And I appreciate where we were at the time the pandemic happened. This was our savior program, and it was everything for us to at least keep the students engaged. So I'm also thankful for all the work that went into this to start it. I remember those deep discussions and the tech department and what they went through and the learning that we went through. And but things change, and I think there really is no choice because we need to make sure students are having the best opportunity. And I think, you know, the recommendation says that maybe it's time now to move on to something else. So for the sake of the students, I think it's important we do this. So I'll support the motion. Thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Sargent. And Trustee Belisa, do you have any final
Thank you, Mr.
comments?
Chairman, and thank you for the tremendous work you have done for this recommendation. I just hope that staff engagement to individual families and to our partners, explaining the rationale why we arrived at these recommendations. Thank you.
All right. So you want any final words, any comments?
No, thank you.
Okay. I'm going to read the recommendation that the Board of Education approves staff recommendations to discontinue the K-7 blended learning program effective June 30th, 2026, due to consistently low and declining enrollment, and further that staff engage with all relevant partner groups and provide traditions supports for all students currently enrolled in the program. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Recommendation is carried. Thank you very much. And we have another recommendation. And I'll read it, and I'm looking for a seconder. Recommendation that the Board of Education of School District Number 38 approve the Richmond School District Strategic Plan 2026 to 2030 as outlined in this report. Looking for a seconder. Trustee Belisa, thank you. Superintendent, you see this is your recommendation. Would you like to speak to it?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It is with tremendous pleasure and appreciation that I introduced the strategic plan. The report starts on page 26 in your document. The board set out just a little over a year ago to engage in a very detailed engagement process in the development of the strategic plan for the school district. The Board of Education has a responsibility in its policy to ensure that there's a strategic plan that guides the district, the work of the district, going for the next 5 years. This plan, built on the success of our current strategic plan, was through an extensive consultation process with our students, families, all our partner groups, and the general public. Through different channels, information was gathered, voices were heard, and as a result, there are 4 strategic key priorities that emerged. The first priority is success for all learners, and the district supports every learner to achieve their highest potential. And of course, as you'll see behind the trustees, it says our focus is on the learner. Of course, our commitment to ensuring that all students are successful, it's top priority. Secondly, diversity, equity, and inclusion. That priority speaks to the fact that our environments are equitable and inclusive, so all members of our school community can participate with dignity, purpose, and options, while experiencing a strong sense of belonging. Thirdly, organizational effectiveness, that the district aligns its resources with the board's mandate and priorities, and that is in keeping with the School Act and certainly with the board priorities as stated. And fourth, and last but not least, community and partnerships, that the board gather meaningful input and deepen collaboration with students, staff, families, and our partner groups to ensure learning, well-being, and success for all students, staff, and everyone who engage or interacts with our school district. this work of the 2026 to 2030 strategic plan belongs to the board. It belongs to our families, it belongs to staff, it belongs to the students in this district, and it will serve this district for the next 5 years in ensuring that the work that we're currently doing continues to set our young people up for success as learners, and ensuring that not only students, but staff and families continue to experience the success for the next 5 years. And so the board, lastly, I'll just make a comment. The board's direction, when this process started a little over a year ago, was to ensure that we take this process seriously and that we certainly incorporate the voices of all families, students, staff. And I can say to you, without any qualification, that this is the most extensive engagement that I've engaged in my career in terms of developing a strategic plan. So I want to thank the board and thank staff and everyone who's contributed to this incredible document, because it sets us up for success. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Now, we've talked about this a fair amount. I don't know how many questions people have, but I'm sure people have comments and opinions. And so let's start down this end. Trustee Beliza, any questions or comments or opinions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Strategic priority number 4, community and partnership. And the goal is to gather meaningful input and deepen collaborations with students, staff members, and partner group to enhance learning, well-being, and success for all. What is your, can you explain more about this in terms of soliciting partnership with different entity that I have mentioned?
Well, thank you very much, Trustee Beliza, through the chair. It really speaks to the work and the commitment that the board demonstrates through the different channels for gathering voices, through our student voice, certainly partner groups, participation in advisory committees and in working groups, whenever the board, whether it's on our budget, whether it's on budget or resource. And we saw an example of that this evening in terms of the voice and the consultation, extensive consultation with respect to the catchment. So I think this really reflects on the work that the board is currently doing in terms of its commitment to community and partnerships. And I would say, just to conclude, Trustee Beliza, I see this as a confirmation in writing of where the board prioritizes how it collects or gathers information from the community that it serves, the board and the district.
Trustee Sargent.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, I'm a big fan of strategic plans, and I think some might say, wow, you took a long time to come up with a plan like this, but it's extensive, and the work that was happening during all these conversations was really working on the strategic plan. Like, we were already beginning the work with each other. Number 4 is something I was very passionate about, and that's because in this district, collaboration is very said in a very meaningful way and a very hands-on way, and it needs to be reiterated and reiterated that whatever we do, we have to ensure that we have meaningful collaboration. It's not a one-way dump of information. It's an actively involving people on the decisions that we're making. And I think I was really proud of our last strategic plan. I think what a plan does is really help a whole district work together and moving forward on items, on common goals, and it's very clearly laid out, it's transparent, it's open. And so now I think with the consultants' help and listening so much and engaging, I think that we've come up with an even better plan. And we hope the layout is maybe easily read by our community. And I look forward to really, the plan comes after this. Like, there'll be detailed plans by staff that staff will work on. And so that this is just one document, and the real work will happen for us as a board, but also for the staff at schools, our senior staff, our districts, And so I'm really pleased that for the next 5 years, we have a direction. And as usual, I would say it's very student-focused, caring-focused, and collaboratively focused. So I really wanted to thank all the partner groups that came to the many, many meetings and had really truthful and open discussion with us. I mean, I think there was many drafts and people saying you don't quite have it right, or what does this mean? And I really thought it was a really open engagement. Again, I would like to thank our consultants who really led us through this. I thought that was very helpful. So I will be approving the recommendation. And there's not too many questions because we were very actively engaged. Thank you.
Trustee Yang.
Thanks very much, Chairperson. And here we are, and we've reached a final draft for approval for such a foundational document that guides essentially everything that we do as a board of 7 trustees, and as well as everybody through and through in the public education system here in Richmond. And I'll just highlight a few things that really stood out for me by priority. And, we flip through each of the priorities, and we often say that, things don't come in a particular order. But in terms of priority 1, I think it really speaks volumes why this is the first priority that exists in the document, in that this is a core mandate and a focus for everything that we do, is to ensure that student success will carry forward, whether that's the bread and butter of looking at graduation rates and improving those statistics, to a more qualitative, individualized look at education and ensuring that students reach success, whatever that might mean for them. And I think that's certainly encapsulated in priority 1, and and also just the increased emphasis and language on mental health. I know in the last iteration of our strategic plan, that wasn't as at the forefront of this document, and I'm glad it is, because that's certainly a tremendous need, both in and out of the classroom, and with a increasingly complex world and society we face. So that's we do want to recognize that that's a key factor in student success. So very thankful for that. And then if we look at priority 2, for me, I think just once again grounding ourselves with the value that we see one another as human, as people that we respect and should view in a dignified way. I think that's very important. Again, in this ever more complex world, I think we're seeing that slowly eroding in many places around the world, and I think our task at hand is to ensure that we maintain the respect, dignity for everybody that walks through our doors. Priority 3, when I first looked at this, I thought this was, certainly encapsulates a lot of what we do as a district, everything from, our IT work to our facilities and buildings. And, I think for staff, it'll be very key as we operationalize this priority to have those clear plans, because there is a lot involved with priority 3, but I have all the confidence that our very professional staff are able to carry this work. And then finally, just on priority 4, again, I think that speaks to the commitment to transparency and accountability that we have as a board to make sure that that's at the forefront of everything we do as well. And so with that, truly I want to give thanks to everybody in the room and everybody who is not in the room but have participated in this process extensively. I think, it speaks volumes when you have an educator of over 30 years in experience telling us that this is the most extensive process. And I think that's telling of our commitment to engage with you all. So thank you, and I will support this.
Trustee Yang. Trustee Larson, any comments?
Yes, I'm so excited about this document. For me, our first one was the sort of the foundation, and what is so important is that we've built on the strength of that first strategic plan. And we learned, and we will continue learning with this plan because it's a growing plan. And as my two colleagues have suggested already, that guide, it's information for us. One of the things for me too, the Success for All Learners was so important, just in the language and where we came to for every learner to achieve their highest potential, whatever that is. And that brings value. And that is very important, especially in today, and it leads into diversity, equity, and inclusion, because we can say all the right words, but we need to value what we're talking about. And I think we came to that language that we wanted when we were working through this. And I'm proud. And I like what our superintendent said is, yes, this is the board's strategic plan, but it belongs to everybody. And hopefully every person, child, parent, staff member, whoever they are, can see themselves in here somewhere and know that they belong, and this is part of it's all of us. So I'm so excited about this is ready. So I will be supporting. Thank you.
Trustee Wong.
Thank you, Chairman. So actually, we support this strategic plan. We board is focused on all the learners in our school districts, and we are the diversity culture, and we that's a really priority. Second is diversity, equity, and inclusive. And we have so many. That's just like the way for the public engagement and the public feedback. So that's the we really focus on. That's the communication with the community. Yes, that's what I support this strategic plan.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Tamlani.
Yeah. We've come a long way since the first document in 2020 that we, managed to work together on for many, many hours, consulting with each other during COVID and also community engagement. We had to, figure that out while we were, it's like flying the airplane while you're learning. So, and that document, we were very proud of it, and it served us well over the last 5 years. And it was, wonderful to see the updates and reports that we had on a regular basis, to see how we were progressing and meeting all of those objectives and priorities. And so this new document now is built off of that one, but it's also the culmination of an awful lot of consultation and discussions and thoughtful discussions between our various education partners. And now we have a new document that's going to guide us and take us, down the next 5 years. It will provide guidance for for staff, students, parents, community members, and anyone that's interested in reading it, including people new to the school district that might move into Richmond. And I think it's something that we can all be proud of, and it will help people understand how truly special this school district is and how we do things together and work collaboratively on all kinds of different things, including coming up with a working document. And I really like the very first, success for all learners. And success looks different for all learners. depending on what their actual potential is and the things they want to achieve for themselves and that their families want to achieve them to achieve. And but I like objective 2, and really, in a nutshell, this is what we're working towards in the whole document, is an enhanced student preparation for post-secondary pathways, careers, and opportunities by developing the skills, interest, confidence, and adaptability needed to thrive in a diverse and ever-changing world, and I'd have to say, a very fast-changing world. So I'm really proud of this document. I love the way it turned out, and I'm looking forward to hearing all the updates that will come out of it, and all the learning that our staff and students and everyone, including trustees and parents, learned from it. So just happy to move or to approve the recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations, everybody, once it's approved. Thank you.
Pretty much my sentiments have been echoed by the people around the table here. It is an amazing document, and a lot of work has gone into it. You know, you see it's a bunch of words, but you realize that how much compassion and how much pride and how much respect and how much thought has gone into it, and which makes it such an incredible document. I like the line, Strategic Plan 2630 reflects a shared commitment, because we don't do it on our own. We work together, and when we work together, we get more success. The other part I like too is commitment to learning, well-being, and continuous improvement across the Richmond School District. I mean, I think you should celebrate where you're at and things that you've accomplished, but we always want to sort of move forward. And it doesn't have to be at a rocket pace or a snail's pace, but I think it's important that we're always moving forward, looking at how can we do things better, but at the same time to appreciation where we are at. And but as I said, we want to keep going further. So now, Superintendent Youssef, do you have any final words you want to?
Yes, thank you very much. If I could just close by just again acknowledging everyone for their input who contributed to this document. I certainly want to express my appreciation to our partner groups. There are ample opportunities and feedback that was provided. Certainly the board, thanks again for your direction. The senior members of senior team, my colleagues who constantly took the feedback, sifted through that feedback. I cannot tell you the number of times, including weekends, where members of senior team were reviewing, ample hours spent on making sure that we got it right from the feedback that was provided. So just want to thank them. And last but not least, our consultant, Roots and Rivers. They partnered with us to do this work, and I just want to give them their kudos as well. So thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. So I am going to, I'll read the recommendation again, that the Board of Education of School District 38 approve the Richmond School District Strategic Plan 2026-2030 as outlined in this report. All in favor? Opposed? Recommendation is carried. Thank you very much, Superintendent Youssef. Okay, now we have a motion brought forward by Trustee Beliza. I'm going to read it and then looking for a seconder. Whereas the Board of Education of School District Number 30 values student voice and seeks input from students when appropriate on decisions that affect their learning and well-being. Whereas the district has 2 district-wide student leadership groups, Table 38 and President's Council, composed of student representatives from all 10 secondary schools. Whereas the board is developing a new strategic plan to guide the school district in the coming years, therefore, be it resolved that the board directs staff to examine ways to enhance the current structure and to consider the feasibility of creating a district student council to further enhance student voice, leadership, and engagement at the district level, and to report back to the board by May 2026. Looking for a seconder. Trustee Wong, second. Thank you. Trustee Beliza, would you like to speak to your motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just would like to clarify first although the motion establishment of a district student council, if we go further, the motion really, be it resolved that the board direct staff to examine ways to enhance the current structures and to consider the feasibility of creating a district student council to further enhance student voice, leadership, and engagement at the district level, and to report back to the board by May 2026. So it's not establishment of the district student council, but referral to the staff to examine ways to enhance the current structure. Now, the goal and vision in strategic, I'm glad that we have approved strategic plan for the next 5 years. It's a very extensive work and effort for the, in order to accomplish that particular plan. The goal and vision and strategic priority number 4, community and partnership, is to gather meaningful input and deepen collaboration with students, staff, families, and partner groups to enhance learning, well-being, and success for all. One of the actions to be taken is to elicit student voice and student feedback through initiatives such as Student Voice Forum and Table 38 engagement. Then, under strategic priority number 2, one of the actions to be taken is to ensure that a diversity of students is represented at the district student initiatives such as Table 38 and Student Voice Forum. Then this led me to ask myself, how would we enhance student voice under the current structure? After consultation and discussion with our superintendent, I'm moving the following motion to board for consideration, and I'm respectfully asking for the support of my colleagues. And again, just to clarify, we are not moving for the establishment of the district student council yet, but just directing staff to examine ways to enhance the current structure and to consider the feasibility of creating a district student council. And this is the rationale, because when I propose originally, I have to consult everybody, make sure that we are on board. This is the rationale. The proposed district student council would create a structured channel for student representation. Second, enhance communication between students, administrators, and trustees. This creates an avenue where we could have a direct engagement with the student depending on their mandate. Then encourage student participation in district initiatives such as sustainability, mental health, digital citizenship, drug awareness, financial literacy, and equity, among others. Then develop that leadership and advocacy skills among participating students. Again, this rationale is subject to whatever recommendation by the staff as to the feasibility of enhancing the current structures and to consider the feasibility of whatever structure or creating a council to further enhance student voice. So I submit, and hopefully that we will give the staff the chance to examine and to develop or submit some recommendations, whether or not we can enhance with the current structures in our school district. I know Vancouver School District, they have a district student council, and Burnaby has even go further than that by creating a district advisory student council. So, but again, I don't want to preempt the staff for whatever recommendation they're gonna have. But at least, if given the chance with the approval of the board, they will be given the opportunity to recommend whether or not we could enhance with the current structure that we have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we are going to do is we'll start off with questions first, and then we'll do comments second. So let's start down this end today. Trustee Tablani, do you have any questions for Trustee Beliza?
Yeah. Just looking at this, I mean, the actual recommendation, you know, you're looking to create a district student council. But currently, we have, you know, the two structures, Table 38, and a president's council. You know, president's council may be a council, but it's pretty much the same thing. And so you said in your rationale, create a structured channel for student representation. We have that in those two groups. Administrators and trustees. I think we already have that with those two groups. And I know that, you know, when we have our student voice forum, we've seen that evidence in play because I think we've all attended those. And encourage student participation in district initiatives. And you've listed them all. I would say, you know, for the most part, we do that too. And develop leadership and advocacy skills among in our strategic plan. That's there, and that's what we have been doing. So what is it that you feel we're not doing now that we could do with a district student council that would be different?
Thank you for that.
What are you seeing
chair.
that would be, you know, one of the enhancements or would be something that we would be doing differently?
Thank you for that question, and through the chair. First, district student forum as well as president council is based on alliance. They are not elected. But again, just to reiterate, we are referring to the staff. If there is other opportunity to enhance, I still believe representations in other district student council, they are elected by the district, in the district level. So they have the mandate to represent the district. That's the first one. We don't have that one. It's more of alliance. Now, and secondly, the mandate. This is a way by the board giving whatever authority. Again, I don't want to preempt whatever recommendation by the staff. But if I will be given the chance to suggest, I would say the mandate would give some kind of guidance what the council could do in terms of the rationale that I mentioned of the things that I have mentioned in my rationale. So there's so many things. And then there will be direct engagement between the board and the students. So it's given for us the opportunity to engage as our strategic plan or priority demands. So it's a great opportunity for us. And then to refer all the subjects that I have mentioned, it's a great opportunity for students to learn not only those stuff, but also knowledge in terms of leadership and skills that someday they will be good future leaders. So I hope that respond to your, questions, because I still believe that the staff, knowing all this operational things, could recommend something that would enhance the voice, student voice, in that matter.
Thank you. We're going to keep moving here because we want to make sure everyone gets their opportunity. Trustee Wong, do you have any questions that you want to ask Trustee Belisa regarding his motion?
Oh, actually, I just like one second that I realized that the district the student council is different from the table 38, right? So I know that table 38 is the 10 school take turn to hold for the topic for the other 9 school. But if a district is a student council, we think that is at that time 10 school of the president of the council is come together. We bring up some of the, just like they are interested what the student did, what the issues come from the community, or just like the board have something happen, they can bring to get together to discuss or get the comment. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Larson, do you have any questions?
Actually, my question was going to be concrete examples of the enhancement of the current structures, but I didn't hear anything, so I'll leave it at that and I'll comment afterwards. Thank you.
Trustee Yang, any questions? Trustee Sargent, any questions?
Yeah, I do have a question, just embedded in a little comment. I'm confused by the motion because you note that really the title is to establish a DSC. And clearly, the motion reads as establishing a district student council, and then the rationale talks about that structure, creating a structure channel. And then when you were speaking now, you're talking about their mandate, the alliance, elected. So for me, I'm confused by the motion because it's clear that you're going to ask staff to look at establishing a district student council. And given the extensive work that we've done on student voice, and not just 10 people, 5 people, student voice that is the district and staff really reaching out to many students, not just an elected body, I guess clarity around, to me, I feel what we're doing now is much better for students and for what we're trying to do, engage students, lots of students, hear lots of students, not just a council. And we've had this discussion before around just a few or an elected trustee, and then the pressure on those students to make sure they represent. It's just not, I'm just confused. You're saying you want staff to bring a recommendation, but it's not really to encourage more student voice. It's to establish a district student council. So I'm wondering my question is, where did this come from? And in fact, I think I've heard the opposite from students when we talk to them. They want more students to be heard from, not elected group of 8 to 10. So where did this come from, and did you hear it from students? I really want to, whatever we establish, make sure that students are part of it and want it, not that we decide and we tell them. So where did it come from?
Thank you for, through the chair, thank you for that question, Trustee Sargent. As I've already clarified, the original intent was to establish, but that's not the motion at hand. And after consultation and after discussion with our superintendent, we come up with this motion. The motion, just to clarify, is not for the establishment of the student council, but referring to the staff on ways how to enhance student voice under the current structure, which is the Student Forum and President's Council. So if the staff, having knows everything on all this, if there is ways to enhance, if there is none, then I submit. If there are, then at least we are giving opportunity for the staff and for the student on how to enhance student voice. So I don't want to preempt anything.
Just
But-
clarity
but-
on where
but-
did it come from? My
Come from-
question was, where did this come from?
You know, when we attended Student Voice Forum, right? I asked some of the students, do you want to have a district-wide representation? And they said they're okay. So I thought by having a district-wide representation, they have some kind of legitimacy that they are representing the district. And if you give them some kind of mandate as what they can do, then we can have a direct engagement with the students. And then from that on, we can enhance, or we will know how they could help us and support the plan, the strategic plan, in order that we could have success for all students. So, in other words, this is an opportunity for the board to solicit also at the same time in other words, the views and the student needs through the student themselves.
Okay. Trustee Sargent, finish your question, or good? Okay. So obviously, we all have our opinions on this topic, and we have our opinions, and I don't know how much people are going to be able to, change other people's ideas or opinions, but we do need to vote on this. And so we're going to go through and last comments to make regarding this motion, and we're going to start down the far end there. Trustee DeBlotny.
Yeah. You say that the motion isn't as it's presented, but that's the one that you put forward. I want to clarify, there is a President's Council, and it is composed of student representatives from all 10 secondary schools. So that is the district. They are representing the district. We have met with students many times. We've had dinners with them. We've had the Student Voice Forum, and we hear from them quite often, and they sit on our committees. I went through your proposal of what a district council would do, but what I am hearing now is that these students, President's Council, are not elected. Well, as far as I know, they are in some way in each school. Sometimes those students that get elected, they've had their student population vote for them. So, I think they are representing the rest of the student voice on that President's Council. You're talking about elections and alliance and a mandate and the providing the board with guidance and do you want them to make decisions for us with direct engagement? I'm a little concerned about where this is going, and I think it's a lot. Our staff really does work hard on the student voice. They're engaging with students all the time. They're looking for ways to enhance the student voice all the time. And every year, I've found that it gets better and better and better. Are there currently things we could do to enhance student voice? Yes. But I'm confident that our staff are doing that. And when we have our engagement with students, we're learning from them, and they're not afraid to speak up. They really aren't. So saying Table 38 is, just a group of students, like, they have some very interesting ideas. And I've been to Table 38 forums, and they're always interesting. So I think we do get representation from our schools, and actually, to be honest, our students have told us that we're not reaching all the students that we could reach. And I'm not sure that your proposal is going to create that. I think it's limiting. So for that reason, I just can't vote in favor of this motion. I'm sorry, Trustee Beliza. There are some parts of it that I agree with, but I can't, in all honesty, vote for the resolution that's been presented here.
Can I respond to that?
No, we're just giving comments. You'll get a chance to, you get the last word. Trustee Wong, do you have any comments, final words?
Understanding the district student council, just like really similar for just like PAC. Every school have a PAC, but we still have a district PAC. So the PAC president, the district school, the district students council maybe represent the one president that come, if it's just like our board meeting, maybe the president of the district student council maybe present here, and that they will, the student will come out and get any just like comment or question for us. This what I'm saying is that this difference is that enhance the value student voice. Yeah, I'm really support that.
Okay. Trustee Larson?
Yeah, I can't support this motion because I believe that we don't, or staff doesn't, do things to enhance student voice. They support the enhancement of student voice, and that's listening to the students. I feel that for a long time, many, many years ago, it came from above, and this is a good idea, you should do that. And that's changed. And I think reading the motion and hearing the explanation, it's what can staff enhance. And I think what this is student voice, and that's where it should start. And if you're in a secondary school and you see you have a teacher, what do you call it, teacher person?
Consultant?
I can't remember the term. Anyway, they support, and the students are the ones that are coming up with the ideas, and some of them might be way out there, and that's where the teacher might pull it in and say, well, maybe we could do it somewhere else. But that voice is coming from the students, and I just don't feel that I hear that in this. I think it's being, the students need to be told or recommended or what have you. I've read it through, and unfortunately, I feel for myself that it would go backwards. And I have a strong belief in it being initiated by the students, and I don't feel that here. So, thank you.
Trustee Yang?
Thanks very much. Yeah, just a number of considerations as we're looking at this motion. I think coming into this discussion, I was really hoping to hear sort of something that addresses the need for this exploration, for this motion, that addresses something that we aren't currently doing, And unfortunately, I think through the discussions tonight, I still don't have a clear idea of what exactly we're going to be doing differently than what Student Voice is currently operating. And so I just have a little trouble with that. Also, I think there needs to be a clearer look at something like this through a governance lens. As we were talking about, whether students should be elected and have some sort of alliance as part of this idea of a district student body. I think there's a lot. There's a bit of confusion between other governance systems across the province where there are non-voting student trustees that sit on the board versus just a working group of students that does work to support the district and the board in other ways. And so I also didn't see a clear deliberation on that based on the text of the motion and based on what has been said tonight. I think just in terms of process too, I think the motion itself on the top of the cover mentions establishment of a district student council, and then so the way that the rest of the motion is written, I think the whole text as it stands right now, it really just presupposes an outcome, and I think that's unfair to the work of staff and, quite frankly, the student leaders have been doing the work on their own accord and the way that they wish to be. Several other questions too around timing as well. I know staff do incredible work to inquire things for us, and certainly there are a lot of things that are on the docket. And so I do have concerns about timing as well for this piece. And really talking about asking the right questions. It's important to engage in these conversations, but I can't help but to notice that there's a clear omission on the opinions and the needs of students that's written or the lack thereof in this motion. And I'm going to brush off old dust here because I both sat on the President's Council and have been an active member of Table 30 in the past. The tone and tenor and the conversations, the discussions, the topics could very much differ from what is being asked here tonight versus what the actual conversations are. And this is speaking from experience. And so with that, I unfortunately cannot support this motion, but I do hope that we as a board and as a district, as outlined in all the commitments that we've put forward to strengthen student voice in other ways. Thanks.
Thank you. Trustee Sargent, any comments?
Yeah, thank you very much. I do have real reservations with the motion, which is clear is to establish a district student council. To me, I really feel like we're moving way past this. Like we're moving forward in ways that student told us to move. Like I think about many years ago, we would rely on Table 38. Oh, what do they think? Oh, what do they think? And we were clearly told that those are a couple of representatives from each school, but that's not the student voice. Like those students didn't go and their job wasn't to interview everybody, survey all the students, get feedback. So what I've been hearing over the years is we have to move forward. We have to move into like the 21st century, that student voice is driven by student voice. I think about when staff organized the big student voice forum, and we sat at the table and we got to hear, and there were tons of tables, 40 or there was a lot of students, and we had a discussion, and we got to, lots of students from everywhere in our district came and they told us what they thought. It wasn't a council that was elected, say 10 people that come before us and say, they have the humongous task of getting feedback on the STRAP plan, and they're now sitting in front of us representing the DSC saying, well, students think strategically that this should be added or not added. No, I don't want that. I want our staff to be in the schools, have pizza, sit down with a group. What do you think about this? And I'm sure our superintendent can let us know how many students were asked what they think in the last strat planning. It was a lot, and I don't want to put the pressure on one student getting elected. How does that even happen? Like, I'm not sure how you get elected to the council. And if you get elected, then what's the pressure on that student to make sure they represent 23,000 other people? And then what supports are going to be there for the student council? Who's going to support them here? Are our staff going to work with them to help their learning and be better? And I just think it's fraught with, I'm not sure the intent of it. I think that where my heart would be, I hope that we engage with our strat plan to say, what other ways, Superintendent, can we engage with more students in a safe place so they can share? So I can't support this motion. I know you'll be part of, the engagement we have with students around issues we have, but an organized alliance elected with clear mandates, I'm not sure where the mandates would come from. It's just not where I think District 38, where we want to go for this century. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Lee, before you comment, I'm just going to share my comment. When I first looked at it, I kind of thought this is not heavy duty or, in terms of being worried about the implications. Because I read the first few lines, be resolved that the board directs staff to examine ways. I'm always asking staff for information and ideas and strategies. And then it goes on to say, to further enhance student voice, leadership, engagement, create a district student council. Personally, I don't feel the need for creating this district student council because I think that need has already been met. Now, once again, it's just my opinion. But, the first part of me thought, well, this is, I don't want to say harmless or whatever, but what we're doing is we're voting on asking the staff to check into something. It's not, do we want to have a district, student council vote yes or no sort of thing. But having said that, and talking tonight about our strat plan and how we do work and everything, like our staff are really busy and they have a lot on their plate and we ask a lot of them. And they're very good. They come through for us. But I do think we have to be thoughtful as well in terms of, and this is sort of based on my belief that I think what's going on now is working. And like when I go to the Table 38 functions and I get really good feedback from them and as for the student voice and message, I think that does come through. And at the same breath, too, just because whether we vote for this or not, staff are always going to be coming up with ways and ideas to enhance the experience for kids, because that's what they do. So, do I feel the need for having a special motion for this? I don't think it's going to be the end of the world, but once again, I look back at our staff and think they're the ones we're asking them to do this, and they have plenty on their plate, and as I said earlier, they're constantly looking at how can we enhance, student voice and so forth. So I don't even think the motion's necessary because what Trustee believes what you're asking for is going on right now, at least in my opinion. So, and on that note, I will stop and you can bring it home and last final words.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, just to refute some of the arguments of my fellow trustee, the president, student council, for example, they are elected by their own schools. They are not elected on the basis of the district. wide structure. And secondly, if I would like to ask any one of my fellow trustee, what are the mandates? What are the mandates of the Stable 38 and Student Forum Voice? What are their mandates? Unless it's specific that for the East 38 or the district, then in terms of representation, you cannot say they truly represent the district. But with these recommendations for the staff to find ways to enhance the student voice, under the current structure. In other words, there are room for possibilities to enhance the power of Table 38 and the Student Forum Voice. So I don't believe that the current structures there's no room for enhancement or for improvement. And the other thing is, why do we have a district parents association? Why do we have a district teachers association if we don't believe that there is a need for one? I think I appreciate and I like strategic number 4, because I believe that the students were given that kind of status as partner for one of the partners for the school district. And with that consideration, you recognize their voice and their power to exist. And for me, it is giving them such kind of inability to enable them to represent themselves for and on behalf of the district. Well, with all due respect to your opinion, I believe that the staff could, by referring to them, there is a room or opportunity to enhance the existing structure. Not necessarily the district student council, but there are other ways. That's why I don't want to preempt their recommendations, if given opportunity, on how, in terms of enhancing student voice. So, in that note, by not giving the opportunity for the staff to enhance, to find ways to enhance, is giving, I think, not giving the chance for the students to enhance their student voice. That's what I believe. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, some really good discussion, and but we need to move on to make a decision. I'm going to, I better read the motion again. Whereas the Board of Education of School District 38 values student voice and seeks input from students when appropriate on decisions that affect their learning and well-being, whereas the district has 2 district-wide student leadership groups, Table 38 and President's Council, composed of students, representatives from all 10 secondary schools, whereas the board is developing a new strategic plan to guide the school district in the coming years, therefore be it resolved that that the board directs staff to examine ways to enhance the current structures and to consider the feasibility of creating a district student council to further enhance student voice, leadership, and engagement at the district level, and to report back to the board by May 2026. Going to call the question. All in favor? Okay, all opposed? 3, 4, 5. Okay, the motion is defeated. Okay, we're going to move on to some more motions. This is under new business, and motion is regarding the BCST AGM, and there's a motion on English language and learning. I'm going to read the motion and look for a seconder. That the board approve the following motion for submission to the 2026 BCST Annual General Meeting. Be it resolved that the BCST requests the Ministry of Education to increase the maximum number of funding eligible years for English language learner students. Looking for a seconder. Trustee Yang? No, you made the motion. So,
He should be.
Well, I can move it or second.
sorry, yeah, let's move by Trustee Yang. Looking for seconder, seconded by Trustee Tablotny. Trustee Yang,
Yeah. Thank you very
I think I'm sergeant. But
what did I say? Oh. You guys switch seats? All right.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and I'll try to keep this brief. Yeah, very pleased to submit a draft of this motion that will hopefully go to a BCST Annual General Meeting later this year, and this this is regarding English language learning, and to essentially ask the Ministry of Education to increase the maximum number of funding eligible years for each student. I'll just go through the rationale in brief because I think it's important to provide some background. Currently, ELL students, if they are funding eligible, they receive, they're entitled to up to 5 years of 5 years max of ELL funding, and that allows for additional language learning supports in the classroom, and that goes a long way for somebody, a student that needs that support. And currently, there are over 30% of our students here in the district that are ELL students, and that is from year to year quite consistent and a significant population across the province. This policy, I think it's interesting to note from the ministry's information that it has not been reviewed since 2011, and I think that really puts it into perspective as to how long this hasn't been looked at thoroughly and seriously by our sector. And there's very strong academic reasons as to why that's an increase from 5 years of funding is important, because you look at research done by prominent scholars. We know that in order to achieve basic proficiency, that may take anywhere from 2 to 5 years, depending on your context as a learner. But to achieve that more proficient academic, as they say, CALP, in the research field, that takes more than 5 years. And so in order to allow students to achieve their full potentials, as we always say, that funding is really essential to ensuring that their language learning needs go beyond or can be met within the timeline of acquiring that higher level of English language proficiency. And really, the last point is just going back to the people that this affects by looking at potential increases, because on one hand, we have students who, at the end of their 5-year funding eligibility, they're asked to, our educators are very good at providing, supports where needed, but really, essentially, we're talking about unfunded supports, and that's certainly one area of many that unfunded supports exist. And that's unfair to the student itself, having to, see their ELL teacher walk away when they still have those language learning needs. Also unfair to other students that have other learning needs, but because of overstretched resource teachers, they're unable to look at everybody adequately. And I think the same can be said for educators as well. We're asking a lot of them, and especially our resource teams in schools that often have to go above and beyond to meet the needs of students. And so with that, I'll just stop, and looking forward to discussions. Thanks.
Okay, I don't see this as being a highly contentious motion, so let's combine our questions and comments together in one. And actually, rather than go from end to end, I'm just going to ask if you have a question or want to make a comment. Trustee Larson, followed by Trustee Sargent. Go ahead, Trustee Larson.
I have a comment. I completely support this motion.
Okay, that's good. Trustee Sargent, followed by Trustee Tablotny.
Yeah, I think this has been on the discussion radar for many, many years. I know at the consortium, the ELL consortium, there has been lots of discussion about making this change. There was a funding review that was began a number of years ago, and it was never completed. So my hope would be that one day we complete that, and this would be part of that discussion. I know I was part of the funding review, and we really brought forward ELL and ELL concerns that really weren't on the radar. So my hope is that I know this motion will pass at the AGM, and I think the documents are good here. I think if we can bring any supplemental information, I think that would be helpful, but I'm fully in support of this motion going to BCSDA. Thank you.
Trustee Tablotny.
Yeah, I'm in full support of this too. You know, we've talked about this a lot. ELL definitely, you know, for the lower mainland school districts is extremely important. And we all know the proficiency isn't always reached in 5 years, and that we need more. And we've been asking for more. So, yeah, I do think this will pass at the BCSDA AGM. There may be others that will put in this similar motion, and I'm sure, you know, they could even be amalgamated. And yes, you know, we do work with other districts and have them second ours and whatnot. So, yeah, I think it's a good motion, and it's timely, and we do need to pass it, so I'm in full favor of passing this motion here.
Trustee Wong.
Thank you, Chairman. I really support that. Is that you know how many students in our school district need the ELL. So you know, you just see that the government just funding for 5 years. Actually, it's the student when you come in enroll and they get the ELL. If that means is that from kindergarten to grade 5 you stop, so is there no more funding for them to continue the ELLs, the provided the service for them? That's that we need to get more funding for them.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Beliza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to support this on the basis of needs. 30% of our student populations need this kind of service. And study shows that in order a longer duration of services and support for AL students is a must, and needs more than 5 years. So this particular motion respond to that needs, and therefore there is an obligation for us as a trustee to advocate for this need. Thank you.
Okay. Personally, to me, this is a no-brainer, so I support it. Trustee Yang, you get the last word.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, yeah, if this goes to BCSDA, there's opportunities to further, work with other districts to potentially amalgamate or to adjust, the contents of this. But I think at the end of the day, these, again, are ongoing conversations. They've been ongoing for many, many years. And I think it's due time that the province hears it from the districts and from our students and from our education system that we need this.
Okay, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. And we're going to move on to our another motion, I should say last. This is from Trustee Larson. I'm just going to read it out, that the Board of Education approve the following motion for submission to the 2026 BCSTA Annual General Meeting. Be it resolved that the BC School Trustee Association requests that the Ministry of Education and Childcare provide adequate and flexible funding to school districts to address unfunded cost pressures, including but not limited to those arising from the conclusion of collective bargaining, staff grid increments, potential salary adjustments for exempt staff, costs associated with benefit rate increases, and rising inflationary costs. Trustee Larson, do you want to move that?
Yes.
Okay, looking for a seconder. Trustee Sargent, thank you. Trustee Larson, you want to open up discussion?
Yes, I'll just read a few points here because you've all seen this and you've got it in front of you. Public K-12 education in BC has been chronically underfunded, requiring school districts to continually absorb cost pressures within existing budgets. A growing number of unfunded cost pressures are eroding districts' financial flexibility and forcing difficult trade-offs, reducing their capacity to sustain programs, services, and supports that are essential to organizational stability and ultimately student success. Boards of education are required to manage public education systems that are increasingly constrained by chronic underfunding and persistent unfunded cost pressures. These pressures significantly reduce districts' financial flexibility. These pressures directly affect districts' ability to recruit and retain qualified staff, maintain workforce stability, and sustain the programs and services that support student learning. We call on the ministry to provide funding that reflects actual cost drivers to strengthen system sustainability, protect educational quality, and enable districts to focus resources on student success rather than ongoing budgetary triage. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to combine questions and opinion together. At this time, since we had so many people respond last time, let's start at one end, and that way everyone, we don't miss anyone. Trustee Belisa, do you have any comments or questions for Trustee Larson?
Mr. Chairman, we know that there is a chronic underfunding of our educational system. And right now, the inflationary demand for all this cost and for the well-being of our staff are under probably huge pressure for funding. And the impact of these needs would affect the potential for student success and well-being of our kids. So I think it is our obligation as trustee to advocate for stable and responsive funding for the needs of our educational institutions. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Sargent?
Yeah, thank you. I think it is imperative that we advocate as strongly as we can around the funding pressures that we are under. We are doing a mid-year budget with cuts. We are looking to next year with more cuts partly because of the global instability, partly because of the federal changes around immigration. All those things are downloaded onto us, and we met with our MPs a couple of weeks ago to say what changes federally happen, download onto us. There are some things that are coming down the pipe that, unless they are fully funded, will put more pressure on the system when we're thinking about what we might have to do next year as far as our budget, it's our job as trustees to make sure we're saying we are in need. And I think we always got to keep the bar high and let the ministry know, I know they hear, but make sure they know what's happening on the ground and what we're going to have to be doing next year and mid-year this year. And please put it in your perspective when you're doling out any kind of budgets that these things are cost pressures that will be accumulating on top of other things that we are also dealing with. So it's our job, and thank you for bringing the motion forward.
All right, Trustee Yang?
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, I do support this. And one other thing I will add is, trustees, if you recall at last year's AGM, there was an emphasis on getting the government, or in our advocacy as trustees at the AGM, to really focus on that core funding piece, because we were recognizing that the province was stepping into this new fiscal reality, and so we want to make sure to keep the core strong, keep core funding strong, and I can't imagine this continuing this year, given the continued fiscal realities in Victoria, and we do need to look at specific needs, and that's why we see a range of motions on all sorts of educational issues. But if we don't have core funding, it's really hard to put talk into action. So thanks.
Okay. Trustee Larson? Oh, sorry, you get the last word. Trustee Wong?
I really support this motion because we know that every year the government provincial is cut the education funding. So if I can see the budgets that the provincial government treat the education where he put the position to put the funding on. This is really important that to get them know about the budget pressure is through all the 60 districts. And this is for get the advocate for that is really need to get the advocate for the funding for the education. Thank you.
Trustee Blatney?
Yeah, well, I understand, the pressures on the provincial government with things that are going on in the world with, tariffs and this, that, and the other thing. And I understand, the Ministry of Education has to go to the Treasury Board and advocate, just the same as we do have to advocate to them. But it's important to keep advocating. And, trustees, this board has been doing it. The trustees across the province have been advocating for it, and I don't think we're going to stop. So this is another example of it. But, when you look at the collective bargaining, and we've been there before where, bargain contract was not funded. So that can always happen, and we live in fear of that. And there was a lot of cuts that had to happen after that happened. Salary adjustments and exempt staff and costs, benefit rates. And we've been talking about this. There are so many things that are not funded now adequately. We can't cover them, and we can't continue. So I'm totally in favor of this motion, and yes, I do think we bring it to BCSTA AGM and add our voice to probably others that are going to be asking for the same. But absolutely in favor, and I appreciate the motion and the spirit of it.
Thank you. Bottom line is there's not enough. There's not enough money to do the things that we need to do, things that we want to do, and so we have to make choices. And, when I keep hearing unfunded cost increases, or unfunded costs, and government's not covering it, I mean, basically it's a cut, because if you want to maintain that, then you've got to find money somewhere else to pay for it and so forth. And as I said, I mean, a lot of things come down to making choices in your priorities. And one of the reasons why I ran for trustee is because I believe the kids are the future. and our young students and our older students, and they're the one. And so, you know, I hate to take from, you know, take from Peter to pay Paul or whatever, but government's going to have to make those kind of decisions, because there's a point that, you know, we won't be able to fund and do the programs that we need to do. And so, you know, that will be a shame. So I do support your motion, and you can bring it home if you like.
No, just thank you that when you think about the kids, and sometimes I'd rather say kids than students, because sometimes students sound so general, but they're children and youth, and this underfunding is affecting them. And as much as, you know, we are doing our very best with our strategic plan and the things that the teachers do in the classroom and the EAs do to support the kids, and the principals and vice principals are working so hard, and the kids aren't getting what they should as much as they should. They get everybody does a great job, I'm not saying that, but it's at the expense of the people that are doing that, and also the kids and the families. It hits everybody. So I think it's time, so.
All right, and on that note, I'll call the question. Well, I should be consistent and read it. That the Board of Education approve the following motion for submission to the 2026 BCST Annual General Meeting. Be it resolved that the BC School Trustee Association requests the Ministry of Education and Child Care provide adequate and flexible funding to school districts to address unfunded cost pressures, including but not limited to those arising from the conclusion of collective bargaining, staff grids, increments, potential salary adjustments for exempt staff, costs associated with benefit rate increases, and rising inflationary costs. Going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you very much, Trustee Larson. Okay, we're going to move on to item 8C of new business, and that is a report from Assistant Superintendent Nasser regarding the Nasser, do you want to, where are you? Oh, there you
Right
go.
here. Sure, I'll just provide a little bit of background in terms of what's in the report. So as you can see, the report outlines the consultation and the approval process to develop the district calendar for the upcoming next 2 years. As part of that process, the District Calendar Committee convened earlier this month and developed draft calendars. It's important to note that the Calendar Committee does represent our partner groups. And what you have in your package is the draft calendar proposals that have been brought forward. They are being shared with partner groups for initial feedback. And the next steps in that process are that the calendars will be adjusted if necessary after this first consultation period. They will then be posted to the district website for a period of a month for public consultation. And then all feedback collected will be collated and brought back to the Board of Education in March for their consideration and final approval. And the calendar that is approved by the board will then be submitted to the Ministry of Education.
Right. Okay, this is for information only, so we're not voting on anything, but if you have questions, let's start down here. Well, Trustee Sargent.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate the document. And I'm particularly interested in the reach out to parents. And I know we have the RDPA on the committee. This affects staff. And I know you've gotten some feedback from parents, perhaps principals, taking it up at their school somehow, at the PAC meeting, in newsletters, just to make sure that, you know, generally parents might not be aware of this drafts. And I think we could go the extra mile, maybe on making sure that at least parents have seen it and that they can give us some sort of feedback, or at least share the website. And I think the reach out needed really must come from the principals if we can. I know they're busy, but. So any thoughts on that, or?
Yep, thank you. Appreciate the suggestion, and certainly it is something that we could link perhaps the principal newsletters back to the district website where they can find the calendars.
Okay. Trustee Belize, we are doing questions starting out that end. Do you have any questions for, all right, Trustee Yang? You? Trustee Larson? Trustee Wong?
So I see the page 62, you have a timeline on that, right? So it's really clearly that the timeline when it's posed to the district for public consultation. Thank you.
Okay. No questions? Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes new business. Questions from the public. Opportunity for members of the public to come forward and ask questions regarding agenda items. Anyone? Okay, we'll keep moving forward then. Our standing committee reports, Audit Committee, Trustee Beliza.
Well, nothing except that the Audit Committee next meeting is scheduled Tuesday, February 10, 2026.
Thank you. Education Committee Chairperson, Trustee Young.
Thanks very much. Minutes of the meeting held November 12, 2025 are attached. And meeting was held Wednesday, January 14th, 2026, and our next meeting is Wednesday, February 11th at 6 p.m.
Okay, and I'm in the chair of the Facilities and Building. Minutes of the meeting held December 3rd are attached for information. Meeting was held Wednesday, January 7th. Next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, February the 4th, 2026 at 4:30 p.m. Finance and Legal, Chairperson Wong.
So we have trustee expenses for the 3 months end on December 31st, 2025. So we have a recommendation for that, as well as the Board of Education of School District Number 38, Richmond is paying for expenses included by the trustee in the discharge of their duty. Be it involved, resolved in accordance with the School Act. The Board of Education of School District Number 38, Richmond, approved trustee expenses paid during the 3-month period and December 31st, 2025, in the amount of $5,057.08. So we have attached the trustee expenses for the 3 month and December 31st and 2025, and we is compliance with the provision of the School Act. Financial and Legal Committee recommendation, the board approval of the trustee expenses for the 3 month and December 31, 2025. Actually, we did some trustee, the board, to just move and second.
Yeah, actually, we need to, you're on a roll there, so I'm assuming you want to move this recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking for a seconder. Trustee Sargent. Are there any questions, discussions regarding this motion? Or regarding with the recommendation? Not seeing any, I'd like to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, recommendation is carried. Trustee Wong, you have a second recommendation. I'm going to go through it if you don't mind. Recommendation that the Board of Education of School District 38 approve a 5% increase to both non-commercial bracket not-for-profit bracket and commercial bracket for-profit bracket facility rental rates for the 2026-27 fiscal year as presented herein. Trustee Wong, I'm assuming you're going to move that?
Yes.
I'm looking for a seconder. Trustee Larson, thank you very much. Trustee Wong, do you want to speak to your recommendation?
So we have we just like the presented the background of that. Now is the review of the operation and the rental department completed in 2021. So which included a comparison of facility rental rates across Metro Vancouver School Districts. The district implemented a 3-year cycle of annual 5% rate increase to offset rising utility and building maintenance costs. The rate adjustment cycle have now concluded a subsequent independent review of the rental rate confirmed that district rates remained generally consistent with those of the comparative school districts. The proposed 5% increase for 2026-27 fiscal years reflects growing inflation pressure, and projected utility cost increase will maintain aligned with region Denmark. We now have just like attached the comparison of the metro school districts, the rate or the rental rates for the comparison, and we have get that in coming years is for that's everything there's the price increasing. So we did such like BC Hydro, Foster BC, and we have some just like others rates, just like child care rates, rental rates. So this is need to just get a judge for 5% for the coming year. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions, comments? Trustee Yang, followed by Trustee Sargent.
Yeah, thanks very much. I do have a number of reservations, as I have in previous years when we're looking at our facility rental rates. And the one reservation, first and foremost, for me is, first of all, this is comprehensive information that Secretary Treasurer has provided, and I do want to commend her for her work. In the report, I'm just unclear of the exact revenue and expenses that is related to our rentals program, and I know that that's not necessarily information that can be easily gathered, but I think I want to clarify by saying that I'm not necessarily saying that we shouldn't recover costs as it relates to our rental programs, but I think it's a fair question to ask about the actual costs that we're incurring in these programs or in the course of offering rental services for district facilities. My second point is just on inflation, and I know that that's been mentioned. It's been mentioned in the report that inflation rates have been moderating, and I think we really need to keep that into consideration when we're thinking about a 5% increase. When just 2 days ago, it was information that our inflation is at 2.4%. And I think we also need to further consider the fact that over the past year, there's been other cost reliefs, particularly around the lifting of consumer carbon pricing. And unfortunately, that wasn't something that we were able to look at this time around as a factor in considering the rate hikes. And I think we deliberate on this in previous years with the understanding that to prevent future significant hikes, that we do need to make consistent hikes, and I take that point. But if we're hiking it every year, it's not about moderating that increase, rather just continuation of it for the sake of continuing it. And I fundamentally, ultimately believe that, as stewards of these publicly owned facilities, the priority should be promoting and encouraging use of it wherever possible, and that lower rates, especially for non-commercial use, really does play a role and incentivizes use of our facilities and enriches our learning community. And so for those reasons, I will I won't be able to support the recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions, comments? Yeah, Trustee Sargent.
Yeah, thank you. I will be supporting the recommendation for a number of reasons. One being, there was a time when we had a number of years where we didn't raise the rates. And in fact, we had to do quite a jump because we weren't covering our costs. And I think we also have to protect the classroom, and whatever we can do to encourage, to make sure our buildings are being used. I thought the question I had at the Finance and Legal Committee was around what are we like within Metro, and we're very, facilities staff has done a really good job in researching. They said we're right about in the middle. I think the 5% is reasonable, just when you look at Fortis and BC Hydro going up 3 to 4% alone each year. We have to make sure that we cover the costs. We have custodians that need to clean it. We can't be incurring costs. We have to protect the classroom, especially going into budget cuts. We have to ensure that we're looking at under, everything that we can. And so I really appreciated the presentation at Finance and Legal around their thought process around this. I thought it was very well done. And again, I don't want to raise it a big whopping 10, 12, 15% one year. It just wouldn't be responsible for our community, who are also trying to make a go of it. So I'm very much in support of the recommendation. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yeah, so we need to understanding the school act that get the school board rental out the facilities, lot, make money. Now we get that compare with the Metro school district is get a very fair increasing rate. So this is really important that we have a board have a covered cost.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to call the question. Oh, sorry, you were.
Just a comment, Mr. Chairman. Considering the financial situation and the financial environment that we are in right now, I think it is prudent to have a good fiscal management, and because of that, I support this recommendation.
Thank you. So having said, let's call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you. Recommendation is carried. Trustee Wong, anything else?
Minute of the meeting held on November 12, 2025 are attached for information. A meeting was held on Wednesday, January 14, 2026. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, February 11, 2026 at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Policy Committee, Chairperson, Trustee Tablotny.
Yeah, we always have nuggets for you guys. So policy 501.8R, 501.8G, student admission, registration, placement, and transfer. The recommendation is that the Board of Education approve the revised policy that I just read out, and in accordance with Board Policy 204, creation and revision of policy and regulations. The board has is adding to policy regarding the change is in reference to a school that is opening when the policies were created, and some of them are quite old. These things were not considered new schools, and so it's imperative that that we change the policy, and so we're the big change is section 3.1 of the policy 501.8R. It provides that a student who lives in a catchment, has been placed in a school, or has transferred into a school will have guaranteed continuous registration in the school where he or she is currently attending. And as presently written, the policy offers an unqualified guarantee of continued registration, does not contemplate the opening of a new school or closure of an old school. And this was an omission. So the new wording would be a student who lives in catchment, has been placed in a school or has transferred into a school will have guaranteed continuous registration in the school where he or she is currently attending. This guarantee does not apply in circumstances where a school is closed, boundaries are changed, or where a new school is opened and the transfer of students from the closed school and/or new school is deemed necessary to the board. And 501.8G, and that would be the guidelines. In circumstances where a school is closed, boundaries are changed, a new school is opened, students enrolled in the school closed or who reside in the catchment area of the new school may be required to register as Category 2 students. So this is, in a nutshell, the revisions that we are making.
Okay, so Trustee Blatty, I'm assuming you're going to move this, and so I'm looking for a seconder. Trustee Yang, thank you. Do we have any questions or comments regarding this particular recommendation? And we'll start down this end. Trustee Blease, anything?
I support the recommendation.
Trustee Sargent?
I apprehensively support the recommendation. I voted against it coming at this time. Now that it's before me, it is something we have to do, but I think that it has to be taken with a lot of care, as we have been discussing earlier about the new school, and making sure that if we're going to be moving students halfway through their session, or we just really have to be taking a lot of care. And I think what our old policy did was ensure stability for the parents and for the students. We know stability is very, very important for both those people. So it's not a move that I would like to make. I think we have a new school and we have to move kids around, and, you know, hopefully we get another school. But after that, I really hope that we hold true to what we see what young people need, and that's stability, and that a policy can do that. And even though a policy is written, again, I know our staff are going to do their very best to make sure transitions are thoughtful and caring. So it doesn't go with my mission and vision and values to say, oh, well, if we open a school, we'll just kind of move you around. Each little kid has, that's their home. We tell parents and students to fall in love with their neighborhood school, and they do. And so we have to take that really seriously. And so I know this is kind of a one-off, but I hope it holds, we keep our values high in moving forward, putting this into place. Thanks.
Trustee Yang?
Yeah, no, I will be supporting this recommendation, and just, you know, we do need to tidy up this policy, as not only as it relates to what we're currently doing in City Center, but for future boundary adjustments too. We don't want to have a situation where we're waiting for a newly built school or an existing school, and for, you know, for it not to be maximized in terms of capacity, or risk it being underutilized. And I think that this particular policy change will address those issues. Thank you.
Trustee Larson?
Yeah, I will be supporting this. I feel this is a really good, I think this is a stable policy. I think that it's authentic, and because that's a responsibility. It's something we have to make sure that we are utilizing our schools with our staffs and so on. And sometimes it's tough to make hard decisions, but I think that this policy will, again, as Trustee Sargent said, our staff is always approaching things with care, and I do think this is a strong and stable policy, so I'll be supporting it.
Thank you. Trustee Wong?
Thank you, Chairman. I support this student admission, registration, and placement, and transfers, all is that, is a parent really concerned about that. And we now is update this policy to get the really transparent information for the public, for the parents. Thank you.
Trustee Blatty, last words.
Yeah, I think this change is absolutely necessary. The policy was written a long time ago, and it did need a lot of cleaning up, and so especially in this regard with these two, it would have hindered us moving students from over capacity schools to the new school. And we may, we'll likely have to do it again. And there could be other adjustments that this policy, the way it was originally written, was hindering us. So it's very important to make this.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm going to call the recommendation. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, recommendation is carried. Trustee Blatty, anything else you want to talk about policy committee?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Just trying to find my dates. Maybe you've got them in front of you, do you? I'm just trying to grab them. Hang on. Minutes were held of the meeting held November 10th. They're attached for information. Meeting was held on Monday, January 12th, and the next meeting is scheduled for Monday, February 9th at 11.
Okay, thank you. We have our board committee and representative reports, council board liaison committee, trustee Sargent, trustee Blatty, anything to report? Okay. BCSTA, trustee Wong.
So BCSTA 2026 Spring Provincial Council will be held on February 20, 2026.
Okay. Trustee Blatty, I believe you're BCPC rep.
Yep, BCPC, the annual general meeting will be held on January 29th, and I will be attending.
Thank you. There's correspondence for information. We send out advocacy letters from the Board of Education to local members of Parliament dated January 7th, 2026, and they are attached to the package. Yes, sorry, Trustee
Just a
Sargent.
comment on the correspondence. Just especially around the Swiss workers, the advocacy that we did with our MPs and the follow-up letter. This did come up at Metro, and there are real deep concerns with the funding, as we had shared, about the change with the immigration funding coming forward. And so we were encouraging other districts to meet with their MPs. I believe Burnaby is going to be sending a draft letter that if you wanted to meet with your MPs. But I just wanted to highlight that this is really, really concerning for, I would say, most metro districts. And so there is a motion coming to the AGM, BCSTA AGM.
Okay, thanks for bringing it to our attention. On that note, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder to adjourn the meeting. Moved by Trustee Larson, seconded by Trustee Wong. All in favor? Thank you very much, folks. Thank you very much for attending. Drive home carefully. I don't know how foggy it is out there, but be careful.